just come back from Singapore, where the grid was as closely packed in qualifying as we've seen all season. Top 6 cars separated by only a few tenths. And I think the explanation of that very densely packed grid comes from more than one factor. First of all, it's a tricky track. It's a tricky track where it's very easy in one corner to make a small difference and throw away the lap. And I think probably if we look at the pace of the Mercedes cars, I think probably they had a bit more pace in hand had their drivers got together a perfect lap. So that brought the front of the grid a bit nearer than normal. But secondly, it's a track where the engine has a smaller effect than at nearly all of the tracks, compared with nearly all of the other tracks this year. So that gives another opportunity for the field to close up a bit. And I think finally the nature of the corners at Singapore, they're all more or less the same speed, and they're, in addition to being very sensitive to the level of downforce you can bring to the car, they're also sensitive to the sort of mechanical grip that you can get from your package. I can't speak for the other teams, but that's certainly an area where Ferrari has been working recently, and it allowed us, I think, to have a rather better weekend than we have recently. So while the grid was very close up in Singapore for all those reasons, we move on now to Suzuka with a different set of sensitivities in the track and a different set of circumstances. Suzuka is a track where the power effect, the importance of having horsepower, is just a little bit less than the average for the year. So not super duper important for power, but not unimportant either. It's just a little bit lower than the average. But it's a track where a good handling chassis with high amount of downforce is rewarded very strongly. So cars which score well on both of those points will of course be right up at the front. But it gives some space to a car which is sweet handling and reasonable on downforce to prosper. When you look at the calendar, the F1 calendar each year, there are certain tracks that leap out at you because you know those tracks are classic tracks. For one reason or another, they're classic tracks. Suzuka leaps out at you for just that reason. It's one of the all-time great circuits with some of the most challenging corners, the biggest test of the car, one of the biggest tests of the car in the whole year, because it doesn't just ask of the car that it can go well in the fast S complex in the first sector of the track, but there are also slow corners as well, long straights, and just all manner of ways to reveal the weakness of either the car or the driver. And a team that comes back from Suzuka having done well knows that they're a good team and a strong package. So we left Singapore, if not with a spring in our step, certainly with some satisfaction at having closed down the gap to Williams, having some satisfaction that areas we've been working on the car to improve its mechanical grip, for example, appear to be paying off for us. And we go to Suzuka and the remaining races determined that that gap to Williams we should close down and actually pull ahead from, with the aim of us securing a third place in the championship before the end of the year, and also learning what lessons we can during the remainder of this season to help guide us for the following year.
A Formula One car needs to be designed in order to achieve the maximum available performance. Obviously, the car has to be able to get also to the checkered flag, and all the activities that allow the car to work properly until the end of the race are called reliability. Reliability is a key factor in Formula One. Formula One cars are extremely complex underneath the bodywork, and the complexity has grown in the years, especially with 2014 rules. Power unit and all the subsystems that allow the power unit to work need to be designed and assembled using very advanced technology that very often are mutuated from other reality, as the aerospatial one or the aeronautic one. To give you an example, many of the car systems are assembled in what we normally call clean room. A clean room is a place where the area is controlled in such a way we don't contaminate the system that we are assembling. Another fundamental factor to achieve a good reliability of a car is the continuous analysis of the data that the car is acquiring during an event. Engineers are checking these data and they are matching them with the analysis that we do on the components of the car at the end of the race. The car at the end of the race is completely stripped. We try to check and to establish if a component is still good to be used in a following race, or if instead we have to downgrade it as a test component or a test rig component.